Of course, it wouldn't be a training without an icebreaker, everybody's favorite thing. So what I want you to start thinking about while we're waiting for a couple more people is your connections that you might have. Because I know a lot of you, when I talked to you, you thought, oh, well, I want to learn about resources, but I, don't know any big groups of people, or I don't live in a big apartment complex with tons of neighbors. But I just bet that we all have a lot more connections, like where we live, where we work, where we do fun activities at, where we might go to church, where we shop, where we belong, where we volunteer. So just be thinking about those things, because I bet that we all have way more connections than we think we do. Now that I'm sharing my screen, I can't see my time. Will somebody, is it 1:05? Okay. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I don't want you guys to have to wait any longer. So my name is Reta Johnson, and I work at Community Education with the Eden Prairie School District, and I work as the Family Resources Specialist. And most of you, some of you I know personally, and then some of you I had very long phone conversations with, especially Pat. I think we could have talked all afternoon. And then others, we shared lots of emails. So I'm just so excited to meet all of you, because all of you just made me feel so happy that I was worried when I first put this on social media. I was like, oh my gosh, I hope, or maybe can we get 4 people? Like, I don't know how many, I don't know if people are going to be interested. And as soon as I put it on social media, I started getting tons of emails and tons of calls, and it warmed my heart that there's so many people that want to help others and learn about resources in our community to share with people that they know. And then especially there were a lot of you who thought maybe you didn't know a lot of people to share with, and you even said like, oh, well, I just want to attend the training, and since I don't know a lot of people to share with, you don't even have to give me a gift card or anything, because I just want to learn about resources. And of course, I want you all to get to have a gift card for listening to me speak today. But that just warmed my heart that so many of you just were so excited to learn about resources. So, because that's my whole job here with the schools. And so what I wanted to do first, to start out with the icebreaker, I wanted everyone to share their name, just a little bit of why they wanted to become a community resource navigator. And then, like I said, maybe share some of your connections that you hadn't really thought about. Like for me, I would say my connections are, so I have my immediate family and that live in my household, and then I have my sister and her family that live in Minneapolis, and then I have all my neighbors and my coworkers that I work with at the schools. And this job has allowed me to go out in the community a ton and meet different groups like the Lions and Lioness Clubs and the people that work for the City of Eden Prairie and PROP. And so it's just helped me meet so many groups. And then even something as simple as my sister works as a dietitian at a kidney dialysis clinic. And a lot of times she will call me if she kind of wants to give some extra food support or resources to someone that's in our area, since she's down in Apple Valley. And so that makes me feel good that I can share resources with her to give to her clients she's working with. So there's just a little bit about my connections. Who would like to be the lucky one to go first?
I'll dive in.
Okay, thank you, Pat.
You bet. My name is Pat Abetamarco. Why CRN? I'm a social worker by trade, but I haven't worked for 3 years. During that time, I moved back from Santa Fe, New Mexico, back to Eden Prairie, which is where I grew up. So for me, I was hoping to get a really good idea of where the resources are in the cities, because absolutely everything I do career-wise hinges upon a really solid knowledge of the resources, and because most of social work is connecting people to resources. So that's why. So I've been back 3 years, and I've been taking care of my parents almost the entire time. So in terms of where I live, I know my neighbors. I live in a little cul-de-sac off of Valley View, and they're all very sweet. In terms of where I play, mostly it's been online lately, and I haven't joined a temple yet for a church family. In terms of shopping, I'm either online or a Southdale girl. Mall of America is my idea of the 8th circle of hell. Let's see, where do I feel like I belong? I went to Vision Rehab at Vision Loss Resources in Minneapolis, and I feel fairly well connected to the visually impaired community. And I haven't really had a chance to volunteer much yet. So that's one of the things that I'm looking forward to with this. And that's it.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Tammy, would you be willing to go next, since you're the next person I see on my screen?
Sure. My name is Tammy Anderson. I saw this on Facebook, and I too love connecting people to resources, and I love helping people and getting to know different groups of people. So that's kind of why I reached out. So some places that I think I didn't think about were sports. So my kids play sports. And so that's one place I hadn't really thought of. And I'm very connected at church and on the outreach team. So there's another big area that I again, like, I just hadn't really stopped to think about all the different groups. We aren't attending right now, but once we get back there, then I have that. And I like to work out, so eventually back at the community center. So yeah, those are a couple of the places that I didn't think about before that I will.
Thank you, Tammy.
I can go next, Rita. Hi, everybody. I'm Anar Patel. So easy 4 things: live, work, play, shop, belong, eat, and ready. Everything. So I work at the Welcome Center. So I think this will help me to know more things about resources available, to give that information to the families and also to the people in my community, like my neighbors, my friends. And I used to live in apartments, so I had like connections in apartments still. Some of my friends still live there, and who doesn't? I mean, I know a lot of people in my community. So I just wanted to know about this. I also saw it first in like on social media, but I wasn't sure because of the timings, my job hours, and then after hours things at home. So initially I wasn't sure, but Reta was kind enough to give me some flexibility, and that's why I'm here.
Thank you for joining us. I'm excited to have you. And I wanted to add really quick, when she said Welcome Center, in case you didn't know, so she's at the schools at our big administration building. So she is the first one, when new families are coming to register, they can connect with her to get resources. So, yes.
Is that at CMS?
No, it's across from CMS.
The old CMS.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh,
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's our administration building. So
okay.
where all of
It's
our
right
head,
in the middle
where all of our
of CMS
head
and
people are.
Got it.
Yeah.
How about Rukio? Would you be able to go? I see your face next.
Yes, I can go next. All right. You guys can hear me right?
Yes.
All right. My name is Rukio Rage. I've been living in Indian Prairie for the past 15 years. So Uh, for my connection, I don't think I have that much, but I just want to reach out and do more for the community. I didn't have this is my first time doing this thing. I didn't have any, previous experience working with communities and stuff like that. Even though I have a lot of people in my circle, I have a big neighborhood. We live in an apartment, and one of the things that I realized that we need more to get to know. I have kids, and my kids do sports, and one of the things I like catch my eye is the sport things, especially in minority people. We're lacking in a lot of knowledge about where we can get it. Is sports, and kids, can do what kids do best, and a lot of people need a resource to do that, let their children thrive. So that's one of the reasons why that I'm trying to get to know this thing much better, and I can get more people to do it too.
Thank you. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you.
Nan, would you be able to go next?
Hi, everybody. I'm Nan Vest. I've lived in Eden Prairie since I was 13 years old. Went to junior and senior high school here, married my high school sweetheart. And so my husband Terry and I really know the community in a certain way based on being here forever and growing up here. My husband still meets with people that he was in fourth grade with in Eden Prairie for coffee and stuff. So we know a lot of folks. We were founding board members for Let's Go Fishing in Eden Prairie. So, we've been very community focused, especially in terms of older adults. We also work together helping people buy and sell or downsize or transition in real estate who are seniors. So again, we see a lot of people who have questions about maybe they need to sell a home and they need help or resources, have questions about that. And then also, what was I going to say? What was it? Oh, I know. We also have a fishing group actually that's made up of predominantly Eden Prairie folks called the Mixed Nuts, and that's something that my husband started. And again, predominantly older adults who oftentimes have questions about resources. And then we took care of my husband's parents for 16 years in our home. And so there was a lot of talk about that in the community, a lot of support, questions. Now is unfortunately my in-laws are not living any longer, but people still remember that we did that. It was about 4 years ago that both people have passed, but people still remember that we've done that, and that they will often call us with questions about taking care of a parent or what kind of services might be available for an older adult and so on. So so that's kind of my niche, I guess, as far as this goes. And I love it when people call and ask me questions. And I realize, especially just reviewing some of the information that you sent out already, Rita, that I don't know the half of it. So I'm very excited to learn more.
Thank you. Erin, would you be able to go?
Yeah, if I can figure out how to unmute. I'm Erin Ludoise. I know Rita from working at early childhood. I'm not currently working. I was with ECFE for the last 4 years, hoping to go back at some point. So I worked mostly with the baby classes and then the outreach program going into different apartment complexes and bringing ECFE there. So my focus has been more of younger kids, and my husband and I, we've lived in Eden Prairie for over 20 years, and we have a high schooler and a fourth grader, and I've got just kind of a good mom network. I would say that's where I have my connections within Eden Prairie, and so I've kind of informally been doing resources, and I thought this would be a neat opportunity to get a little more officially established as a community navigator. So.
Thank you. And we miss you so much here. So I want you to come back. So
I'll be back.
okay. How about you, Jennifer?
Hey, I'm Jennifer. When I saw this on Facebook, it's something I've thought about. I started volunteering in a ESL classes a couple of the year, not this past year, but the year before. I was at Hennepin Technical College volunteering, and I realized how much people don't realize about everything that happens in our schools and all the resources we have in the community. So when this popped up on Facebook, I was really excited to learn more about it and how I can bring more information to more people. And we have a 4th grader and a 8th grader right now. So some of our connections would be with the schools, sports, with scouts, the gym, and then hopefully next year I'm hoping to go back to volunteering in ESL classes too. So I'm really excited about this. So
Thank you. And then what about Ravina?
Hey, my name's Ravina Patel, and I've been living in Eden Prairie for 13 years now. So I moved from the UK to Minneapolis and been in Eden Prairie ever since. I usually, when I saw this post on social media, I thought it was a really good way for me to continue making an impact on other families' lives, because that's kind of what I do on a day-to-day, where I work with families, students, and providing supplemental educational help. And so I almost am seen as like a resource, or I guess somebody who's providing resources to families, such as teachers or tutors getting that when they are struggling in school. And then I'm also a part of a networking group where we meet every week. And so it's a really good opportunity to share different things that are going on in the community, as well as hearing what other people are looking for, to be able to provide some sort of help to that. And then outside of that, I go to the gym. I used to volunteer at Oak Point Elementary in the classroom. And so I really enjoyed that, but that stopped due to COVID and all of that. And also at the Children's Hospital, that stopped. But in the future, I'm kind of looking to get back into like dental offices and kind of working or volunteering there. I think that's about it.
Thank you. And then what about Shugri? Are you with us? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can. Hello.
Oh, hi. My name is Shugri Jama, and I work for Eden Prairie School District. I live in Eden Prairie for the past 3 years. I moved from Seattle, Washington. I really like Eden Prairie. It's a great city to live in. And I was working for the summer for the school district to give out the kids meals. So I met a lot of people. I like living in Eden Prairie. That's about it.
Thank you. Yes, Shugri and I got to know each other because I helped with the meal distribution. And so I had to email her and text her all the time about where to go to help with meals and if the bus she was on had enough food, and it was craziness at the time. And then what about, I think the only person we have left is Molly.
Hi everyone, I'm Molly Malone Patil, not to be confused with Patel, and I am a little bit about why the Community Resource Network to start with. So this is an idea that Rita and I have been discussing with a larger group for quite some time now, just about different ways that people learn about resources and communicate within their own communities. And so the missing link, we can have a fancy website and we can have brochures and all sorts of communication and beautiful marketing plans. But what we have learned, and I was in the role before Rita was as a family resources specialist, is that word of mouth communication is so important and probably the most trusted and valuable way of sharing information about resources. So I heard each and every one of you talk about how people come to you with certain questions, or you go to others, and people really are our greatest asset. And so we were trying to figure out, how do we capitalize on these connections and these networks, and use people really to help get information out and to help more people in our community. So thank you all for being a part of this. So that's the why. And connections, I mean, it's kind of fun to think about this, but Nan, like you, I'm a lifelong resident of Eden Prairie, and I thought I knew it all until I started learning more. And the more I learned, the more I knew I didn't know. So I grew up here, went to Eden Prairie schools. I work in community education as well. And we have all sorts of formal networks through my role here as the community engagement director. I coach cross country and track at the high school, so I'm connected to the local running community. I'm a member of Pax Christi church, and because of my kids, like I heard many of you say, I have all of these kind of mom connections as a Cedar Ridge parent, or our ski club that we're a part of. And so it's kind of fun to think about all of these connections, and it's really great to meet all of you, and I'm feeling really excited for all of the networks and the connections that we have going out into the community.
Thank you. And then I was going to play a quick video, but let me check. Janet, would you, since you are here, would you want me to go ahead and go to your slide, if you can hear me? Maybe she stepped away from her desk. Oh, there she is.
I'm here. Sorry, I couldn't find me on the, let me start my video.
Let me go to your slide, Janet. Okay.
Hello, and sorry, I was half listening. Rita, what would you like me to just talk about, prop?
Yes, I had a quick video to play, but since you were here, I wanted you to go ahead and go. I'll let you introduce yourself, but I just wanted to say we're so excited. Janet Palmer came, who's the, well, I kind of introduced you just now, but director of prop, and I definitely wanted to put her slide up first because you are just gonna be amazed how much Janet says that prop does for our whole community, and pretty much I send anyone I talk to prop because prop is going to be able to help everyone. So.
All right. Well, thanks, Rita. And hello, everybody. I think this navigating resources, I'm just really excited, and I hope you're as excited, and I hope this works out well. Real quick, before I tell you what prop does, I'll tell you that we try really hard to communicate to the whole community to make sure that people know that we're available and all the services that we offer. And we try to keep tabs by surveying our clients for our service, but it's just always something that we talk about is who doesn't know about us? How do we get to places that aren't, the little pockets that may not be aware of prop and what we do. So that's why I'm super excited that this group is getting going and can really help drive people towards us. As you can see on the slide, we are more than a food shelf. As you can see, kind of our little tagline is food support community. And I know Rita will get in later about the difference between us and the prop shop, so I won't do that, but we are a different organization. We are a food shelf. We're a healthy food shelf, so that we offer a lot of fresh foods. Pre-COVID, we had a market where people could go to once a week just to get fresh foods for their family. So it's a pretty expansive services that we have. We also have 4 case managers that really are social service oriented people, someone with licensure. to really help those navigate, those that are low income, need different services. So it may be something that PROP can do, or it may be something that we have networked with for whatever it might be, government services or legal services or something that we don't provide. Our case management kind of knows all the other nonprofits and knows the areas of how to help navigate support for our clients. We have a summer food for kids program when kids are home in the summer and not getting free and reduced lunches. That is super popular, and we're able to give kids both healthy and kind of food-friendly foods. We purchase a lot of produce, cheese, yogurt, a lot of nice items there. We have a delivery program, not only for seniors, but during COVID, we've kind of quadrupled who we deliver food to. So anybody that is in need of food that can't get to us, we will figure out a way to get the food to them. We offer emergency financial assistance. Again, this is kind of, it's for low-income households that are in a crisis or a situation that we can bridge. So we're not, for instance, a long-term government support type of role. It's more short-term crisis. And as you can imagine with COVID, this is a year for a lot of short-term crises. So it's wonderful that PROP is here. But with that, we do mainly focus on keeping people in their home, keeping people stable so that they are not being evicted, not having to choose housing or a car repair or housing and childcare. So we look at that, and it may be that we pay for 1 or 2 or 3 months rent. It may be we can help in a different way by paying for utility bill. We might pay for a car repair, emergency childcare, all kinds of we're very holistic, and a lot of our funds are our own funds, so we can be really flexible to meet the need of the client for that emergency. We also have an employment counselor, and her job is to help people be prepared and help find work. We're not a job placement space, but we do a lot of work with helping with resumes, helping look for jobs, helping with interview skills. She does a great job and really kind of works with people of where they are and kind of moving, following what their needs are. We have a holiday, it's actually now a holiday gift card program for children and seniors. This is 2 years now that we've gone to just gift cards, which gives, it's just more equitable and gives families the ability to do what they want with these gift cards. If they want to buy this special gift that a child may want, or they could use it for special foods that they might want to eat for a meal. We just really give the family the breadth and decision-making of what they want for that child. And anyone that has kids, which sounds like a lot of you guys have young kids, it's not like the old days of here's a board game and they're happy. It's very specific. And it's just kind of got too hard, and you know, we weren't meeting the need of meeting the actual gift that child wanted. So we're very excited that we went to this program a couple years ago. And then lastly, we have a youth scholarship program, which this is in large part thanks for the Eden Prairie Community Foundation helps fund this. And this is, again, for low-income families that has a child that would like to be in an activity, an after-school activity. It could be music, sports, if they want to join, you know, a basketball club. It could be camps, summer camps. We've done horseback riding, really whatever the family is interested in an activity, we can help pay towards that program. We may not pay all of it, but it's $100 scholarships that we can help. And then we'll also work with the other side too. So maybe it's like the basketball association, and they might have a scholarship as well. So between our scholarship, their scholarship, and the family might kick in a little bit, we can kind of reduce that cost quite a bit. I know I talked really fast, and but I just, the main thing I think for you to take away is that it's just a wide range of what we offer, and it's not just food oriented. Anything else you want me to cover, Rita, Molly?
Does anybody have any questions for Janet? See, like I said, did you guys realize that they did all of this?
No, not at all.
That's why if somebody gets a hold of me, usually this is where they're going to get referred to. Pretty much.
I have a question. And can I ask questions to Janet?
Yes, I definitely want you guys, after we talk about any resource, to feel free to ask questions before we move on to another resource, so you don't forget.
Thank you. My question is there any like tutoring program that you guys help with low income families? Like if the kid needs help with math, it's too hard. Like we cannot afford it I have 5 kids, for example, and I cannot afford to pay all 5 of them. Is there like any tutoring program and any scholarship that you guys help with the families?
We do not do any tutoring ourselves. And I'll kind of just defer this back to Rita, because I know you're kind of the one going through the different resources, because I know there are other resources I know for like high school kids with Treehouse, and you may be aware of others that I am not. It's a good question. If this isn't fully answered, I can go back to our case management to see if they have other ideas that Rita may not have, but it is not something that Prop offers directly.
Would the $100 per child, would that ever be an appropriate expense for those youth scholarships?
Sure, for tutoring?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. As well as, I should mention, another kind of expensive thing is driver's ed. We do a lot of help with driver's ed through that.
And we work really closely with Prop on that, since Community Ed has, a large driver's ed program. So when you combine Prop's assistance with our Community Ed financial assistance program there, it can be a great opportunity for families who want to get their kiddos through driver's ed.
This only like for Prop support, is that just for Eden Prairie residents?
That's a great question. We support Eden Prairie and Chanhassen residents with the comprehensive support that we talked about. When it comes to food, we want to make it barrier free. So anybody can come to us. We try to make sure they're aware of maybe a food shelf that might be in their community that might be closer. But for instance, if they live in a different community and their kids go to the Eden Prairie schools, or somebody works in Eden Prairie and that's the only way to get to a food shelf would be us, because it doesn't work in their schedule. Anybody can get food from Prop, just not these other comprehensive financial supports. Yeah, great question. I should have covered that.
And there's no financial eligibility requirements for the food either, right, Janet?
Correct. It's really barrier free.
Okay. Janet, so now I'm thinking about this as like a broader perspective when we have some families coming in for registration, and if we happen to know, or actually in any case, I would rather say, are you comfortable giving out like brochures or some kind of informational booklets, some here at like our ASC building, so that if we feel that this family might need some support, or in general, we can offer them that information. Because sometimes what happens is family won't step up to us by saying all these things, because they would just assume that we might not have anything like this, or some families just doesn't want to come up that way to us in first meeting. So I would say, if you have something like this that you are comfortable us giving out to new families, then I would really appreciate that.
Absolutely. And I'll make sure that.
And I can do that, Janet, because Anar, I'm going to talk about it at the end, but I think I told all of you, but I'm working on putting a binder together. And so it's going to have like all these organizations pamphlets, and then places like Prop, I was going to give everyone extra, since that is something that would be a good, if you had a friend or had an acquaintance or someone at church, to have the brochure to give out. So, and Anar, I'm also working on a huge resource booklet that I'm gonna give you tons of to have at the Welcome Center. So.
Yeah, we used to have brochures there, so that we probably ran out.
Well,
I think I saw a couple, but since we were not even here for like 2-3 months, and then after that, I wasn't even aware of these things because we were just in another world, and I just joined last year. So for me, like, I didn't even knew half of the things. So yeah, it could be here somewhere, but I didn't saw it since a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I just want to add one last thing. That initial step of asking for help from Prop is something that I think a lot of families, particularly if they haven't had to rely on this type of resource in the past, are hesitant to do. So I think one of the most powerful things you all and we all can do as navigators is to encourage people to get help, especially with food. So even if they, you know, there are a lot of people who might have really big fancy houses, but because of COVID, you know, they're struggling to make their mortgage payments. And so they might feel silly going to Prop for something like that. But one thing we always tell people is that even just taking a little pressure off by getting some support with food will free up other resources. And I think that is one of the greatest assets in our community that Prop is able to provide. So always, and the staff there are so friendly and welcoming, and I know it can be a scary step for people, but I think once they take that step, they're really glad they did, because Prop is just wonderful and their people are so compassionate.
Well, thank you, Molly. And you know, we do help about 1,000 families a year. So if they're not alone, when people think they're alone, we help a lot of families, and it's all confidential. So you can be sure that if anyone shows up, we're very confidential and welcoming. More so when our doors are open. I should say during COVID, we are available and have all of our services, but it's all done by phone, and the food is curbside pickup, just like you would at a grocery store. So we're offering everything, but it looks a little different.
Janet, can I ask one more question? As far as produce, I know volunteering through church, a lot of the churches have gardens that donate. Are individuals allowed to donate excess from their gardens?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We'd love that.
Cool.
Thank you so much, Janet.
Thanks for having me, and thank you all for signing up for this. I think hopefully it's a good experience for everybody. So thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day. See, and now I'm excited because, you know, if you do talk to people about Prop, I just think it's so nice. Like, now you can say, I know someone from there. I met Janet, and she talked all about Prop. And so now you all have the connection like I have of actually knowing someone there. And I just think, you know, that, like Molly was saying, makes things a little bit less scary if, you know, you can relate to your friend, oh, I heard all about what they do, and I met Janet, and she's the head of prop, and they are just so super friendly and nice. And she said everything's confidential and you don't have to worry about anything. So, okay.
The warm handoff.
Yes. You're talking to our social worker language, Pat. Okay. I was going to do this first, but I wanted to let Janet, since she took the time out of her day to come. But as you guys probably already guessed, with me being the family resource specialist for the schools, obviously I work with all of our school families and students, and then anyone else in the community needing resources. But I made a special video. There's only been a couple of people who have seen it. I'm hoping it's going to go out to all parents in our district and social media, but you guys get special access. I just want you to know this only took me about 127 times to make this 3-minute video. So I did the best I could. So. Hello, my name is Reta Johnson, and I work as the Family Resources Specialist for the Eden Prairie School District. My job is to help support you and connect you to local resources, services, programs, and fun activities going on in and around Eden Prairie. Today, I wanted to do a quick tutorial and show you how to access the Family Resources webpage. This can be found by going to our main Eden Prairie Schools homepage, which is edenpr.org, clicking on Schools and Programs, scrolling down to Community Education, which is where my office is located, coming over to Adult and Community, and clicking on the Family Resources program. I wanted to show you this webpage because of all the valuable information on it. Most important is the list of available community resources. Here you will find an extensive directory of Eden Prairie and Hennepin County resources. So you might be looking for before and after school care. You might be looking for child care for your young newborn. You might be looking for help writing a resume, which can be found under employment. You might want to find help accessing food in our community. There's lists of mom resources, parenting resources, all the fun recreation activities like our wonderful parks and all of our sports organizations. There's information for our senior citizens, and there's even information on where you can take swimming lessons. Now, if you go back to the main Family Resources page, you will also find the calendar of community events. This calendar keeps track of any free activities going on in our community that are for families and children. Also, on the Family Resources webpage, you will find the Family Resources Program newsletter. This is a newsletter I write monthly that you can subscribe to that talks about events going on in Eden Prairie, new resources, and spotlights and highlights any great things that are happening in and around Eden Prairie. Also on this page, you can access back to school supply information, which will become available at the start of next school year. You can submit a confidential request for help that goes straight to me, and you can find my contact information. If anyone has any questions at all, please contact me at 952-975-7030, or you can email me at rita_johnson@edenpr.org. And once again, if you want a simple way to find the Family Resources webpage, you can visit www.edenpr.org/family-resources. I look forward to talking to you and can't wait to meet you and share all of the resources that we have available to us in this wonderful community.
Good job.
Thank you. Like I said, on my computer, I only have about 50 recordings of me messing up. So if you ever need something funny to watch, I have them all recorded. So that is my job in a nutshell. And I wanted to make sure and share that with you because we are always trying to direct more people who are able to go online and have access with like phone and computer. If they are tech savvy, that's a great place to find the list of resources. And like I said, you can subscribe to my newsletter about events going on and new resources. And that's going to be a great website for you guys to refer to as well. So since Janet, of course, one of the main things that PROP does is food support, we just wanted to talk about a little bit of the extra food supports that we have in Eden Prairie. For any of our school children, we have the free and reduced lunch program, and that application you can find on the district's webpage if you go to child nutrition. And what's great about that, so that gives children, obviously, the free lunch, but then that, you know, qualifies them for so many other things, just like any of the sports that are associated with the school. If they are on the free and reduced lunch program, they can access those sports for free. They can go on field trips, which hopefully we'll have again in the future, for free for being on the free and reduced lunch program. And especially this year, we've been trying to get as many families as possible to sign up for the free and reduced lunch program, because this year a lot of families didn't think it was necessary because luckily through the state and the government, because of COVID, our kids have had free lunch and free breakfast the whole entire school year for everyone, regardless of income. But we wanted to make sure that all families, and they still can, you can sign up at any time, sign up this year for the free and reduced lunch program, because through the state is what they're doing is if you are on the free and reduced lunch program, then they are sending to families a debit card. It's called the PEBT program, and they're sending a debit card. And then for every month that your child was at home in distance learning or was going distance learning half the month, they've been looking at that for each school, and then you get money on your card. They just backdated it, so families are getting ready to get, they probably already have money on their card from September to March to make up for all the days that the kids missed free meals, and just to help support the families in helping buy more food for the children. And so they're going to be getting all that money for the school year for the days that they were at home with distance learning. So that's why we've really been stressing that this year. We also have an awesome program that's our Weekend Food for Kids program. If any of you have ever heard of the Sheridan story, it just changed to every meal, and they are all over the Twin Cities and serve all the metro schools. And they had been in 5 of our schools, and next year they're going to be in all 8 of our schools. And this is where a family can sign up, and then on Fridays there's a bag of food. And what's nice is these are specific food bags, so a family, there's like 5 different categories where a family can get more ready-made food, and you know, if in case you don't cook and need things on the go, it's more ready-made, like tuna packets and peanut butter and things like that. Is that me? I don't know. I don't know where that came from. Let me double check.
Rita, maybe close out the YouTube from your other window. I can keep talking about the the weekend program.
Oh
So
Lord.
there are culturally relevant packs too. So there's the ready-made packs, and then there's an Asian food pack, an East African food pack, a Latino food pack. So the wonderful thing about these packs are that they're culturally relevant foods. And they're discreetly put into the child's backpack or given to them in a really discreet manner that you know, honors the dignity of those kids, so it's not an embarrassing thing for them to go home with this extra food.
Are you guys able to see my screen again?
I think you'll have to reshare. Oh, other people can see it?
Not yet.
Okay. See, and I'm not very tech savvy, and I practiced this, and then of course YouTube came up on its own and now messed me up with everything.
Do you want me to keep chatting, Rita? Walking through the...
I think
there
I
you
got it. Can you guys see
Here
it?
you
Yeah.
go.
Okay.
You're back.
Okay. Good. Okay. Like Molly said, what's awesome is there's 5 different packs that you can choose from that's kind of a little bit more tailored to the foods that your family might eat and might need. And if anyone is interested in any extra volunteer activities, they are located in Roseville, and they have packing events all the time to pack these bags of food. And I just think it's exciting to know that, you know, you're even helping out all of our students in Eden Prairie that get the food as well, along with many other schools. And they have, as you can imagine, they used to be a little bit smaller organization. And I wish I would have looked this up before I met with you guys. But now, since COVID, they have given out something crazy like 2 million bags of food or something like that. So they, I mean, they're hiring new people. They have huge events all the time. I mean, they just have like quadrupled in size and have helped give out so much food. And if any of you have school children, whenever we were doing the school meal pickups, then we always had extra bags of canned goods that we would give out to families who said they wanted them. And that's where those bags came from as well. So awesome organization. There's also, I don't know if you guys have heard, but there is a group that have come together, and it's called the Food Pulse. And right now, every Wednesday afternoon, it is distributing boxes of food outside of Lifetime Fitness.
Oh, I've heard of these guys.
Yeah, and you don't have to sign up. You don't have to say your name. You don't have, there's no, you know, you just drive up in your car, pop your trunk, they put the food in, and you go on your way. So that's for anyone, no barriers. You don't have to talk to anyone, and, you know, very discreet, just pull up. And so that's an awesome program going on right now, where they've gotten that food through, I can't think of the name of, can you think of the Secondhand Harvest?
A USDA food
Yes.
program.
Yes. So they get their food from the USDA program, Secondhand Harvest, and a lot of communities are distributing that food, and that's where ours is being distributed. And they're hoping to be able, I know it's definitely going on throughout April, and then they're hoping that they can continue it past that as well. And then, like Janet said, there's the Prop Summer Food Program, where you can get extra monthly boxes of food, and it has snacks in it, and cheese and yogurt and veggies for kids over the summer. And then also we have our Meals on Wheels that deliver hot meals in Eden Prairie to any of our seniors who need those meals, or any individuals with disabilities. And like I said, if anyone has any questions at any time, feel free to speak up so you don't have to remember it all the way till the end. Okay, next up is the Prop Shop. And it is an awesome center in Eden Prairie. You might know it if you like to go like thrift shopping. It's an awesome retail store and they always have lots of cool items and it's set up very nice. And that's for anyone to go to the retail store, and they have a donation center where you can drop off any donations to them. And what I refer people to a lot is, you might not know that they have a family services center. And that's where any family who comes to them and says they're needing extra support, every month they can get free clothing, free houseware goods, free furniture, anything for their home, any type of winter gear, books for their kids, clothes, shoes, a new package of underwear, a new package of socks. And they can use the Family Service Center at the back of the prop shop once a month. And this part is always a little confusing, and still, if you have got them confused in the past, I bet there's probably at least 75% of the rest of the population in Eden Prairie does as well. But prop and the prop shop are two separate organizations. So prop, we always want to think of as food, and in their name they have like the apple for food, and then the prop shop has their little home symbol to help anyone with home goods and home related items. So that can be confusing, and those two organizations really want us to stress to everyone that they are two separate organizations. They're very passionate about making the community know that those are two separate organizations. So, and I also wanted to share something that I love. If you're like me during COVID, that made you want to go through your whole house and declutter and get rid of stuff when you were at home for such a long time. And I have two little boys, and if you take any children's clothes or children's items to the prop shop, since that's such a big need and not something they get tons of, any children's clothes that you donated, you can definitely know that it goes straight to the Family Service Center for people to get for free, and it's not going to the retail shop where people would buy the items. A lot of you might know about these basic resources that every state has different programs, and these are just the large resources that are given out through the state, and for us it would be our Hennepin County resources. So one of the biggest questions I get asked is, of course I'm mainly working with families that have children, and I always get asked about, how can I afford to send my child to Little Eagles preschool? How can I afford to send my child who needs to go to all-day daycare while I work? How can I afford before and after school care with Eagle Zone? And I always refer them to our Hennepin County Child Care Assistance, and that's a form that they can fill out with the county where they can get help paying for child care if they qualify for that. You also can get free medical insurance through the state. There's our program, Women, Infants, and Children, where pregnant women can get help with getting fresh fruits and vegetables and groceries, and then they do checkups and follow-up, and you get vouchers for food for any children birth to age 5. They also, you can call Hennepin County and they can help get anyone into emergency shelters all over Hennepin County, and can help find which shelters are open, which ones are for moms and their kids, which ones are for single men, which ones are for couples, and would be able to help place anyone who has an emergency where they're not able to have housing. There's also cash assistance available, and then there's also the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, which pretty much everyone knows as SNAP, available as well.
People might also recognize the term food stamps. That's SNAP is replaced that term.
So this was a little bit harder resource, and I just wanted to make sure and share it with you, but I was worried because there are so many mental health supports, but I wanted to make sure and share it with you at our first training, because obviously you probably have heard or struggled yourself, or might realize that this past year and COVID has just been such a challenge for so many people, and people more than ever have needed some mental health support during this time. And so I just wanted, like I said, there's even more than these lists, but I kind of went through and just wanted to highlight some of the ones that I thought were important, and I just wanted to share about them really quickly. So if anyone feels like they're in crisis, it's an emergency, they need help right away, there's the crisis text line, and you can talk to someone through text, which, as you know, that's seems to be the way of communication nowadays, and especially, that's nice for younger people that, might not want to be talking on the phone. So you can text 741-741 and be able to access someone 24 hours a day through text that can talk to you. And then there's the Hennepin County Child Mobile Crisis Response, and then they have a Hennepin County Adult Mobile Crisis Response. And that is through Hennepin County, where you can call and get a hold of a counselor any day, anytime, 24/7, and you can speak with a counselor over the phone immediately, or they can come to your home and work with you. They can meet you in public and work with you. A family member can call and get resources for someone that they're wanting help for, and that would be the best place to call in an emergency. Another great resource in Minneapolis is they have the crisis nursery. So say if someone needs to, is having an emergency and needs to go to the hospital, or just, is going through a mental health crisis and just feels like they can't be the best parent that they can be at the moment for their children, this is emergency daycare, where you can drop your children off, and then also they help with counseling there and helping families with resources and connecting them with resources. And then for young children, I believe I read it was 6 and under, that they can keep those children for up to 3 days and 3 nights and provide that child care while people are trying to get the help that they need. And then there's also the National Suicide Prevention Hotline that anyone can call 24/7. And then some of the non-emergency things. In Eden Prairie, we have an awesome center that is called Brighter Days Family Grief Center. And that center can connect you with anything at all grief related. So, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a family member or friend who has passed away. They also help anyone who has a loved one that has been diagnosed with a terminal illness as well. And they connect with any resources. They provide counseling. They have tons of awesome camps that children can go to. They have activities for families to do together. They do so many, and they are in a building, kind of a smaller building, and they're getting a gigantic new building built for them. And they just took over some of Fairview's child counseling, their group, and so they're acquiring those counselors, and so they're expanding even more in their counseling, and they're going to have a huge building in Eden Prairie. Nice. And then there's also Headway Emotional Health Services, which provides counseling, Relate Counseling, kind of like the name, that's counseling. And then now I got to move you guys back. Let me see. There's Move Forward, which helps teens and young adults. My Health as well offers counseling. Relate Counseling, the Friendship or the Family Partnership, and the Washburn Center are all great resources for counseling as well.
I'm just going to add too that if you are working with families who have students in the Eden Prairie school system, our schools have some really excellent supports available to students. You know, we have school psychologists in every building. We have social workers. We have contracts with Washburn therapy and all sorts of support. So your school is a really good first stop if there's a parent or a student who is struggling.
Another organization that Molly and I work very closely with through our different community groups that we are in, where all organizations kind of work together to support each other and share resources. So we work closely with Treehouse, which was started, Treehouse is pretty much all over in most of the cities, and it was started just a couple years ago in Eden Prairie by a woman named Tammy Ryder Harms. And let me tell you about Tammy. If you meet her one time, you're going to be absolutely best friends with her. And she would have been awesome to come and talk to you today. And she would have been so excited. But I knew today was not the right time because she would have taken up the whole hour and a half of training. She is just the most passionate and talks forever and becomes best friends with everyone. So she is a great resource to call. She is the head of Treehouse, and they help any of our teens in middle school in Eden Prairie and any of our teens in high school. And they help, they have different meetings where the kids get together and have peer support. And then there's older adults there that are volunteering with Treehouse that work as mentors. And they really give lots of support to teens. Before COVID, the group would always get to go and might go to a Twins game or get together and have dinners together. Just really community bonding, peer support, just talking about the things that they might be struggling with and realize that other teens are struggling with the same thing. And then also this year, they knew how many of our kids were struggling with not just being in school because of social, but also how hard it was for academics. So they've been having free tutoring going on as well on Friday afternoons. And I think you can also set it up online any other time if that doesn't work for you. So this is a great organization. And Tammy always likes to say, you know, this isn't an official counseling agency. This is more support and mentoring for teens. But a lot of times if someone's needing mental health services, you know, they want it and they need it immediately. And a lot of times when you call some of our different places, you might not be able to get an appointment for your teenager for 3 months down the line or for 4 months down the line. So she just wanted to make sure that we shared what a great resource this is and how much support it gives when a lot of times you might not be able to get an appointment someplace else, or just traditional therapy isn't working for a teen and you think the teen might do better getting to talk to peers about things going on.
One quick note about Treehouse. It is a faith-based, Christian-based organization. However, in Eden Prairie, they have 2 separate programs. So there's one where they do talk about that aspect, and another night that is completely non-faith-based, and they support people of all religions and cultural backgrounds, and they work really hard to be a welcoming place for everybody on that one. And they do a good job of keeping it separate. I know that can be a really difficult line for a lot of organizations to walk, but I have been impressed with how they are able to do that.
Since we're still, unfortunately, in the time of COVID, I just wanted to just do a few quick resources that I thought were important, and different organizations that we met with called the Community Engagement Impact Council, like I said, where all of our organizations work together. They kind of helped me come up with some of the topics that they thought were important for you guys as navigators, and they just wanted to make sure that you knew some COVID resources. And definitely I found myself when I was looking, unfortunately, since we're a year in now, I feel like it's not as much at the forefront as it used to be. Like it used to be, I could go to Hennepin County's website and immediately the first thing I saw was, here's our resources and our emergency support for COVID. And even the school's webpage, as soon as you went to the school's webpage, you could not go anywhere, you could not even navigate the school's webpage without first reading the box of the COVID supports that the school was giving you. And I just feel like things are a little bit harder to find now. So I just wanted to tell you about the Minnesota Vaccine Connector, and you can get signed up for that. And it lets you know when when you're in the group that's able to access a vaccine. And if so, then it will start giving you lists of where you can try to go online or try to call and get appointments. Like right now, you know, say if you are 65 and older and haven't got a vaccine yet, you can plug in your information and then it'll start showing, oh, well, you can go, they're going to have this clinic at the Mall of America. They're having this clinic at CVS Pharmacy and this one at Hy-Vee. So that's really a great resource to show anyone where all the locations to get the vaccine is happening right now. There's also coming out from the federal government with everything that just was signed by the president. It's getting ready to open back up again for emergency rental assistance. So that's coming soon. I went on the webpage and it didn't give a specific date, but it said it's coming. And anyone who's needing help or landlords who need help because their tenants haven't been able to pay can apply for this and get, it looked like I saw up to 3 months worth of rent paid. There's also through the Department of Human Services a specific hotline for immigrants and refugees, and they have workers on that line that speak all different language, and if it's a language that they do not provide, then they access the language line, and that's to make sure everyone in our communities are getting the information they need about COVID. There's also the Minnesota COVID-19 response website that I found, which is only about COVID information through the state. And then, of course, like you already heard, we had been doing food support through the schools, which we're so excited our kids are all back in school full time again now. And then, like Janet said, you can always access food through Prop and access food at Lifetime. And there's many other places and drives that are always happening in communities around us that give out food as well. And then I saw something else that I thought was interesting, which on Hennepin County webpage, it just, if you think you had been around someone that had COVID, or if you tested positive for COVID, if you were able to put in like the date you tested positive or when you thought you were around someone, and then it told you how long you should be in quarantine or how long you should self-isolate for. So I thought that was good information. Another resource related to, well, this is for any time, but I wanted to share it because especially now during COVID, is an organization called Homeline. And they are a great organization that helps anyone that is a renter. So any of our apartment complexes, and you guys know we have tons of apartment complexes in Eden Prairie. So if anyone's having a problem with their landlord or an issue with getting something fixed or facing an eviction, this would be the place to call, is Homeline. And especially they've been so busy and such a big resource this past year, because if you didn't know, the federal government has placed it to where no one could get evicted. So even if you could not pay your rent because of COVID, your landlord cannot evict you, because we didn't want to have all these people that lost their job due to COVID and then be out on the streets and have to go to shelters where they might be more likely to be exposed to COVID. And so it's been in place that no evictions are supposed to be happening. And if anyone has been trying, or a landlord's been trying to evict someone, that tenant has been able to call Homeline because no one is supposed to be able to get evicted right now. And it sounds like that keeps getting extended. And the last I heard, it sounds like it could be, I haven't heard that it's extended to April. It might be ending at the end of March. And then that's why that rental assistance, emergency rental assistance, is going to become available. I wanted to give you all some supports for seniors in our community. These are great resources for our parents and grandparents and older adults that might be our neighbors or people that we're friends with. We have a great organization with the Eden Prairie Senior Center, and the director of that, now I kind of wish I would have invited her as well, but I wanted to make sure Janet could come. But Sue with the Senior Center is absolutely wonderful, and she's the person who recommended me talk to our awesome Nan about being a community resource navigator. And then we have our senior community services, and this program is kind of like a case manager that you can get a senior connected with, and they can help you with any resources and kind of do case management for a senior that has lots of needs. And then there's senior linkage, and that kind of is the same thing where, like the name says, linkage, it connects you to resources. And then, like Janet said, we have Prop that does our senior mobile food delivery, and then our Meals on Wheels program. And Sue from the Senior Center, she wanted to make sure that I included that during COVID, there's been lots of seniors across the country that unfortunately have had lots of food insecurity. So she wanted me to touch on really quick that if any of you do have seniors in your life, or seniors that live next door to you, or ones that you see at church, she wanted to make sure that you knew some of the signs of maybe a senior that wasn't getting enough food and needed some support and might be having some malnutrition going on. So seniors who are malnourished might be having unhealthy weight loss, more falls, muscle weakness, frequent illnesses all the time, and lots of depression and fatigue. Now our summer programming for youth. Now you might have thought that we were going to cover this at our summer training, but everything for summer is open now, and now's the time to apply for everything. I feel like there's two different groups of Eden Prairie. There's the people that on the day something opens at 8 a.m., they've already signed up and they're good to go even though it's 5 months away. And then there's a lot of calls right at the end of school that I get when people are like, oh my gosh, next week is the last week of school. I don't, who's gonna watch my kids over the summer? And so I just wanted to touch now about our summer programming, since all of our programming, the registration is open for Eden Prairie Schools, our community education programs, which we have Eagle Zone, which is the program that provides all-day care for children. And then we have our EPIC classes, and those are fun classes, and they're also academic related, but those are fun classes that you can sign your kids up for. So it might be slime time, or learning about dinosaurs, or doing all things about Harry Potter. So we have those different classes, and you can sign up for a morning class. They just are half the day. And then you can also, if you wanted your child to go all day, you could sign up for an afternoon program as well. And then through our schools, we have something called targeted services. And so if any teacher thinks that there's a child who is maybe a little bit behind in reading and math, then those children are able to access targeted services, and they're able to come to any of these classes in the morning for free throughout the summer, and have all these classes for free because, like I said, they all are focusing on reading and math primarily. And then through our City of Eden Prairie Parks and Recreation, they have all day like fun camps that provide all day daycare. And then also Lifetime has their fun camp that's providing all day daycare. And like I said, the sooner families can register, the better, because these programs always fill up really fast. And then Janet kind of touched about how Prop can help with these programs. But if someone is interested in community education, we have assistance to where someone can apply and receive any of our community education programming for half off, up to $250. And then the City of EP Parks and Rec, they also kind of have the same thing. Theirs is called Passport to Fun, and you can access anything through the City Parks and Rec. You can access anything for half off the cost as well.
And that's another reason we encourage everybody to apply for the free and reduced lunch program, because that letter is like an automatic qualifier for families for a lot of these programs. If you qualify for free and reduced lunch, you automatically qualify for Passport to Fun, for example. And that city program also gives you free access to open gym, open swim, and open skate at the community center during non-COVID times. So that's a really underutilized program in our community that can be a really fun one for kids.
So I just saw this little picture and I thought it was cute. I was looking for something good to share with you to conclude our training today. And I liked that this one said, "Nowhere is it written that you have to be perfect to help others." And what this kind of said to me is, the main thing I want to stress to you today is, I am not at all expecting you to remember all this. And even though my job is the family resource specialist, just to let you know, Google is my best friend. And I'm always Googling things, and there's definitely always things I don't know. And the big thing that we want you to take away as community resource navigators is, most importantly, we wanted you to know that if someone is needing support, who you could connect them with. So of course, you can always automatically connect someone with Prop, because they're going to be able to help with any resources, or if they can't actually at Prop, they'd be able to tell you who you could connect with, like what organization would provide that service. And then definitely you can have anyone always call or email me, and I can connect anyone that's needing support with any services. And so I wanted to let you guys know, like I said, and also what I said about not having to remember everything today. I'm working on a binder for all of you that has these handouts that we went over, and has pamphlets from these organizations and any printouts that they like officially give out as resources. And so you will get those in the binder, and then for the next 2 trainings, you will get the information to add in your binder. And so I'm going to have those for you. Whenever they are ready, I'm going to email you all, and you would be able to come by and stop at the Education Center and pick up your binder. And then inside, I'll have an envelope with your $50 Target gift card. And oh, I just wanted to say I would email you all when that's going to be ready, because the 5 who couldn't attend today, they're going to be doing a training with me in the evening next week. And then once they've completed the training, then we let our finance know how many participants we had total, and then they're allowing us access to be able to purchase the gift cards for everyone. So. And then something else I wanted to share with you, like Molly kind of touched on, the whole way this started was, you know, obviously we're trying to share so many resources, and we have our websites, and I always give presentations, and before COVID, I would try to go to any resource fairs. But we still always, there's always people that don't know about all the services and supports that Eden Prairie has to offer. So one of the ideas that we came up with was the Community Navigator program, but something else I've been working on, it's called EP Help on Hand. And you might have seen it on social media because it's been getting posted once a month, I know, on the Eden Prairie Moms group and Eden Prairie Bulletin board on Facebook. But I'm trying to spotlight an organization once a month and have it go in our school newsletter, have it go on social media once a month, and we send it to our partner organizations like PROP and encourage them to put it in any of their newsletters or social media, kind of so all at the same time, all different organizations and social media and newsletters can be focusing and highlighting on one resource that month that we're trying to let people know about. So that's something that I was hoping you guys could help me do. And I was going to start sharing our once a month EP Help on Hand resource with you and encourage you to share it with anyone you know or on your social media. And this month, the one that you would be getting is my video that you saw. That's what the resource of the month is. And then also when I send you the information about the gift card and binder pickup, I'm also going to, and I can include this in your binder. Actually, I will. I was thinking it would be electronic, but I can put this in your binder and send it electronically. Is I'm just going to have kind of a form where is what we're wanting you to do is keep track of who you might be sharing these resources with the next couple of months, which is, of course, our main goal of this program. And so I just want you to keep a log of, and put down for me, like, I shared resources with my neighbor. I shared resources with my mom. I shared resources with 2 neighbors at church. So things like that. And then I'm going to have a deadline for that where you turn that into me in the next couple of months. And then just for doing that extra step of sharing resources and just keeping track of where you might have shared resources, then you'd be able to come pick up an extra $25 Target gift card. And you guys do not know how much I appreciate you all for volunteering for this. And like I said, I just am so excited to meet with you all and connect with you all, and for you guys to connect with each other. And it just warms my heart that so many of you wanted to work with me and wants to work with the community and help others. And it means a lot. And thank you for coming today.